All right. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Tomboy Official. On this podcast, we talk about gender and sexuality and LGBTQ plus topics. Today, I've got another episode of My Queer Dreams. So, Friday night, I went to bed 9, I guess it was like September 23rd, 2022. Went to bed, not sure what time. It was after 11. It was after 11:11 because I remember that came up, and I was texting one of my friends still. And then I was on Instagram with some friends around that time too, and then decided to just check up in the morning and not keep messaging people at night. But I noticed, I was like, okay, it's weird, like, it's Friday night, and like everybody I know is on Instagram, so I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, okay, like there's all those little like green dots, everybody was on Instagram. I was like, okay, like, my pastor friends, my San Diego friends, I don't know if my LA friends were on there, but a lot of people were on there Friday night. So I was like, okay, like I'm not usually on there. Like I'm on Instagram, but I'm not like often. I don't know if I'm on there often, honestly. I don't really know. I feel like I just like go in and then like whatever. But I was basically looking at Rich's San Diego. They have like it's like some kind of leather kink event. And that was for Thursday, the 22nd. But I saw it on their story, but I didn't know it was Rich's. I was just like on Instagram, like, okay, like what am I looking at here, And then I was like, I had to do like a double take, and I was like, oh, Rich's, all right. Like I knew it was Rich's because I saw initially the DJ stage and I recognized it, but then like when I kept like flipping through, I was like, wait, like, okay, that wasn't what I expected at Rich's, but it's cool. I mean, like, I'm not like against it. I actually want to go, but if it's on a Thursday, I can't just like go like that. But so yeah, so that's kind of what I did before bed. Is I was on there and then talking to a friend about it, and then like, anyways. And so that's kind of the last thing I did before I went offline. And then I was a little restless, couldn't really sleep. I kept feeling like itchy, like, and like, okay, this is like, that feeling where you're like, okay, I kind of should probably just take one more bathroom run before I really sit down, like before I really like start falling to sleep. So I kind of was dozing, and I was like, all right, I don't really need the bathroom, but I'm like, I might wake up needing the bathroom more, and so I might as well just go. So I went to the bathroom eventually, and it was probably after midnight by then. So that's why I'm saying that this dream was probably actually early this morning, or a little after midnight, but I didn't really check the clock. I just feel like I'd been laying there for at least 30-40 minutes. So if it wasn't just before midnight, it was after. I'm pretty sure it was after, because my dad was on the phone in the other room, and I was thinking, like, he's on the phone late, like, and it's Friday night, like, we don't really sleep like that in this house too much. So yeah, so okay, so I wrote down this dream this morning, and I was thinking, I was like, did I have any queer dreams? I was thinking, because I'd been writing them, and I was podcasting last night, like before I was starting to go to bed, before I was getting really tired, and I mentioned it. But yeah, I was like, did I have any queer dreams lately? Because I realized, like, I haven't really been remembering my my dreams too well lately. And it's maybe because I have been sleeping a little bit late and I have switched up my kind of cannabis regimens. And so that could be contributing, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's probably likely it's contributing. And so I want to get into this dream though. It was maybe like 3 parts. So let me see. I'm going to break this up so that I wrote notes down. I'm just breaking it up from the next topic so I know where it ends. Okay, so all right, so it's hard to explain because a lot of it was just, it wasn't very like there wasn't a lot of clarity in this dream. It was just foggy. Now, last night, right before I slept, I mean, I didn't have any edibles last night, but I was vaping Oahu Rose. I don't know if it's pronounced Rose or Rose. Oahu Rose, Raw Garden Indica. It's a live resin concentrate. And so maybe that's what made the dream a little foggy. But I did kind of remember the dream. I feel like when I have cannabis in my system, I do kind of remember the dreams. But when I initially woke up, I was like, oh, there was nothing queer in it. And then I was like, oh, wait, there was. And so it was like little pieces. So I'll get into it. So it was basically 3 parts. So the first part, I was at a type of house that looked like it was on the boardwalk. And it looked like it was on the boardwalk at Mission Beach in San Diego. And there were a lot of veterans living there. And in my mind, basically, so I remember there was like a guy by the door, somebody I don't know that doesn't exist in my real life. I want to say he was in a wheelchair, but he was like really jokey. And then there were some other people. It was kind of a boisterous environment, but like daytime. And when you walked out, like in my mind, it was like Mission Beach, like the part that was like kind of where they have like almost those like beach houses kind of on the Strand. Like it was kind of like that, but closer to the parking lot. But when you walked out and looked over, it actually looked more like Venice Beach, kind of like where there's like the Muscle Beach area. But take that, like if you took out like that Muscle Beach area, and it looked like that. Like, so looking across towards the beach, it looked like Venice Beach. But then towards the inland side, it looked like Mission Beach. And so, yeah, in my mind, I had some kind of an attraction to somebody there. Like, I could kind of feel that. I could feel it. Like, you know, like when you kind of have a crush on somebody and there's like a sense to it. Like, you can kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but like when you're like into somebody who's around you, you feel a little bit different than you do when they're not around, or when you're not aware that they're around. Like when you're aware that a person is around and you like them and you have a crush on them, you kind of feel a certain way. So I was kind of feeling that way, but not in particular to anybody that I like recognized. That's one of the parts where I was like, okay, like it's kind of interesting because it was like a non-gender, not even non-gender, like there is just like a non-labeled of any kind type of a person. I don't even have a figure to represent it in my mind, but I could just feel it. I was like, I knew that there in the dream, I knew I was attracted to somebody there, and either I was going in there knowing that I was already into them because I already knew they were there, or I was in there and noticed somebody and I was like, ooh, like I'm attracted to that person, just like at first glance, kind of like I like how they look or something. So in my mind, I had some kind of an attraction to somebody there. I could feel it in the dream, but I wasn't specifically looking at or interacting with the person I was attracted to. So I don't know who it was or what they were like. Just in the dream, there was a thought of them, but it was like a foggy, vague kind of something that I could sense and kind of notice, but it wasn't. It was just like a slight presence of a feeling that I was familiar with. Of this is how it feels because I'm in like a crush kind of situation, and there was no detail about their ethnicity, their gender, or anything. Just a general person. Like I knew they were a person, but there wasn't anything in my mind that I was thinking about like what I liked about them. I just had that feeling. But mostly what I did actually notice with my actual five senses was that I was like looking around. I knew that a lot of the people there were guys. A lot of the people there I was talking to were veterans. And we vibed and we're just joking around. I don't know what we were joking around about, but it's kind of like, it was almost like, that sense when you walk into like a house party and everybody's kind of friendly and has drinks and just like they're already in the middle of like, vibing and like everybody's having a good time. It was kind of that experience. So then there was a second part to the dream. I don't know if part 2 or part 3 happened first, but I just labeled this one part 2, but I have a feeling actually it was part 3. So this next part of the dream, we're talking about soccer and basketball. So this scene, so the Mission Beach / Venice Beach actually turned into this area over in Chula Vista that's the amphitheater that's by that water park. It kind of turned into that area. So that's where these next two places were, as well as my parents' house in LA. So some reason those areas were all like right near to each other. Mission Beach, Venice Beach, Chula Vista, and LA. They were all like right there. I don't remember driving, but it's not like, okay, we drove 2 hours to go from San Diego to like whatever. Like, no, there was none of that. And so we were talking about soccer and basketball in this part. There was a basketball final. It was like the final game of Spain versus the Philippines. I remember visually it looked like old school, like people with the like short shorts. It was guys sports, and I wanted to watch, but there was another game that I wanted to see more, and it was a soccer game. And I was talking about these games with the veterans, and then I was talking about these games with some other people outside of that residence at the beach. I was talking to some other people about these games, but when I was outside, it was actually, I walked down a little further and it was Chula Vista, and it wasn't that far away. It was like right there. And so that section was Chula Vista. And if you know San Diego and LA well, and the distance between San Diego and LA, you know that none of these places are like a couple step walking distance from one another. They're like at least a 20-minute drive, if not at least a 2-hour drive from one another. And that's like if you're not even counting traffic. That's just like on a regular day. But they were all like within a walkable distance, I guess. And then so I went home, and I went home like to LA, and I had considered inviting some of my friends. I remember going to my parents' house, and it was kind of like dark. Like when we don't have the blinds open in the living room or anywhere, like we don't get direct sunlight too often, and so it's pretty dark. And so I remember it was dark, but it was still like daytime. It wasn't nighttime. It was just kind of darker because we didn't have the blinds open. And my dad was there, and strangely he was like happy. Like he's not usually like in a jovial, happy, kind of chipper mood, but he was kind of like happy, I guess, because soccer, like he loves soccer, so I guess maybe that's why. And he was kind of like just like almost like the stoned kind of happy. Like I've never seen him stoned, but like almost like the kind of happy when you're like stoned and you're just like happy. It was like that. I don't know which of my friends came over or what, or if they came over, but I feel like I was there with some friends. I don't know which ones, if they were friends from real life, my San Diego friends, or the friends I grew up with in LA from real life, or if it was just people from the dream. I remember being able to think of the games in my mind, like I was thinking about the games in my mind, and I was talking about them to other people. I just don't know who was in there, and I feel like I was in the living room and talking about the game kind of as it was on, but we weren't specifically watching it on television or a laptop or a phone or a tablet or any kind of device. I just was thinking about the game and had thoughts about it, and it was kind of like almost like real-time thoughts, and we were kind of talking about the game. You know how you kind of talk about like, oh, like I like this player or whatever. I want to say it was Houston Dynamo, like MLS, like Houston Dynamo and somebody else, but I really don't remember what league of soccer or if it was men or women's or what, but I was like, I really wanted to watch soccer more than basketball, but I remember what the basketball game looked like. I remember what the advertisement looked like for the soccer teams. You know how they have it on the screen and it has like the shields of each team or whatever, this team versus that team or whatever. I remember one of them was orange. I can't remember the other color of the other one, but so that was one part of that was the second part. And then the part that had like a bit of a queer part to it, so this was kind of in the Chula Vista area based, where a friend said that he got Rufus tickets, Rufus Du Sol, because I'm actually going to that Rufus Du Sol concert in Chula Vista, and one of my friends that I usually go to concerts with, this is a recurring section of the dream, that this friend in another dream even gave me it was like where people send you like a link by text and it has like maybe 4 or 5 hyperlinks of like, so it was a link that had like 4 or 5 hyperlinks about the seating for this specific Rufus Du Sol concert, and it said like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, like whatever, and then like you could click on it and it would like give you access to like I knew in my mind about this, but I never actually clicked on it, but you could click on it and it would give you access to where you could get the best seating. And so this happened in another dream, and then that part happened again in this dream. So basically, a friend said that he got Rufus Du Sol tickets, so that friend doesn't have the tickets to my knowledge, but this is a friend that I've been to concerts with before, multiple times, and so he sent this easy seating chart kind of link that he'd sent me in a previous dream about the same concert that's still coming up. So I was thinking I would prefer to go to the Bisexual marathon, which was before the show, because then we would have better chances of getting good seats. And so I don't know why there was like a bisexual marathon going on before the show, but I remember way back, like years ago, me and some friends signed up for this 5K. It was called like Foam Glow or something like that, and it was at this same amphitheater, like, and but we were late because my friend was late, and then we showed up when the race had already started, and then my friend's shoe broke, and so we just kind of went in. We were late. We weren't really too pumped up about it. We ran for like a second, and then we just kind of dodged all the lanes and like went through to the end and left. But I remember people being like, "Oh, like you guys are cheating," like, and like we weren't cheating. We were just leaving. So yeah. So basically, that was the same setting where this bisexual marathon was going to be, the same place where this Rufus Du Sol concert is going to be. So there was going to be a marathon before, and it was a bisexual marathon. But, you know, I didn't want to run or train to do that marathon. I just wanted to go to the concert event. There was a flyer that looked like a pride flag tie-dye onto a glossy half sheet of paper that was advertising this bisexual marathon. And one of my LGBT friends, that in real life is already going with me to this concert in October, that friend, and then the other friend that I got the tickets with initially, and then the guy friend who, in the dream, was also gonna suddenly come with us to the concert, but in real life he's not joining us as far as I know. So it was all of us together, and we were kind of like trying to decide, like, are we gonna go to this bisexual marathon, and if we do, like, what are we gonna do? And, you know, I was kind of pumped up about that marathon, and then, you know, the crush from that other house, and then, yeah, I mean, there was really nothing got resolved. Nothing made a lot of sense in that dream, but that was the dream. I mean, that's kind of how the dream went. So, yeah, that's one of my queer dreams. And, all right. Thanks for listening. All right, you guys. Well, if you like this type of topic about queer dreams, I have other episodes with this My Queer Dreams series. Go ahead and share this episode with at least one person if you think you know somebody who would like, you know, Queer Dreams series, or share any of the other episodes, or just this podcast in general if you know people interested in gender-related topics, sexuality-related topics, LGBTQ plus related topics, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to entertain you guys in the next episode.